What is going on, Poke Crew? It's your boy Hungrymon, and today I'm going to talk about the Pokemon market. I'm going to take a look at some older cards from the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, like Scarlet and Violet Base, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames, and 151. Um, there's a lot of interesting stuff that's happening right now. Some prices are seeing a decrease. Prices have gotten lower, um, and people are wondering, what's going on with the hobby? Are people not as excited anymore? Is demand lowering? But if you're new to the space, if you're new to Pokemon collecting, then you're probably not familiar with how the prices kind of decreased during the summer. We're kind of in the point where people aren't spending their collection dollars on Pokemon cards as much. They're trying to sell some stuff to get some more cash so they can go on vacation, and so as a result, some of the prices have gone down in terms of singles. Um, Maybe for some of the sealed products, some things have gone down, but for the most part, I would say it's probably still very in demand. It's still very hard to get any prismatic. It's still a little tough to get destined rivals. Um, so let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff. Alright, so we've got our Destined Rivals booster box here, and as you can see, the market price is still around 250. The last time I revisited this was pretty much a couple days after Destined Rivals just got released to the market, and it was sitting around the same price. So really, the price hasn't really moved all that much. We've seen some more supply like hit the market, but it's still sitting around like the $250 mark. I mean, I'm sure that you can see prices for these. I mean, even like lower no name sellers around here for like 238 plus $10 shipping. So I mean, it's still around 250 no matter what. But I mean, I think that just shows like how strong of a set Destined Rivals is. I think that Destined Rivals is probably going to be, in terms of the best sets of Scarlet and Violet, in my opinion, I think Destined Rivals is the third best set in Scarlet and Violet. Maybe I'll make a tier list sometime, but that's what I think, and I think that the price is really showing here. Now, sure, the set is very new, but I'm pretty confident that as time goes on, we'll see more supply hit. Hopefully it'll be enough to satisfy Destined Rivals, but I really think that Destined Rivals is an amazing set, right? We've got Mewtwo, we've got the Ho-Oh, we've got Garchomp, we've got amazing trainers like Giovanni, Cynthia, you know Ethan's Ho-Oh and things like that. I mean, there's some like really cool stuff in here. So let's go ahead and look at the ETB. So this is the ETB for Destined Rivals. Right now, market price is saying 80, but I actually think that it's actually rising right now. So we've been on a downtrend. I think the last time I looked at this, we saw ETBs around like $90 ish, and so yeah, it's been slowly trending downwards. But if we look at the supply of the market right now, there's actually nothing really listed at $80 market. And we have like the lowest. So let's look at like a Gold Star Stellar here, right? So I mean, they only have 150 sales, but just looking at this, like $90 for an ETB, when the market was at 80. So it's very clear that supply is starting to trend downwards to where we're starting to reach a point where this could be like an inflection point for the ETBs. But again, I would say that ETBs aren't as in demand as booster boxes, right? The sell-through rate for ETBs would be much lower than a booster box, but booster box does kind of tell us the story of the set. And I think that, again, since Destined Rival is such a good set, the ETBs will probably follow. It may be that the ETBs will start going up in price, or maybe people won't buy them at $90. I mean, that's possible too. The most recent sale was about $90 just a little bit ago. I did see it get bought up right before I was making this video. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the ETBs could go up. Might go to 85 in the next next couple days, couple weeks, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So let's go ahead and move to some of the older cards. And these are cards that I personally want to grab. I really like these cards. I think these cards are great. And I really think that people are overlooking some of these cards. As I'm making this video, like I went to Collecticon about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And I personally picked up a lot of these cards because I think they're at a great price point. They're really hard to pull, and I think they just look great. I really like the art of these cards. So if you've never played Scarlet and Violet, Miriam is the school's nurse, and she's such a great character. She's really clumsy, but she's very cute and always willing to like help you out and, you know, give you like a band-aid or two if you like scrape yourself. She's such a nice character. I really like Miriam. And so of course we're talking about the special illustration rare Miriam from the Scarlet and Violet base set. So as you can see here, with the market price sitting around $25, and if we look in like the last month, it's been trending downwards. Even here, like three months ago, like, so back in May, it was sitting at like $20. Then it spiked up really crazy end of May to like $40, but now it's been trending back down, like all the way down to 25, and this is here at 25. So we look at this in the last month, it's been slowly trending downwards. But as you can see, it's been sitting around this like $25-$26 price since like June 7th, right? So it's been about 3 weeks ish since, you know, it's been at this price, and the market seems to be really liking the card at $25. And I mean, you know, we have this crazy 107 items sold, just like a couple days ago on Friday or Saturday or something, of just people picking up this card at like around $25. So that's actually pretty crazy. I don't know what's going on there, but maybe people are making a play. You know, maybe they believe that this card will go much higher than $25. And if you want my opinion, $25 I think is a really great price for this card. I remember when this card first came out, this card was like $100 plus when it first came out in Scarlet and Violet base. But as it turns out, the pull rates were fairly easy for Scarlet and Violet relative to the rest of the sets that we have now, right? Like Prismatic. But that being said, it doesn't mean that this card is worth any less. It just probably wouldn't be as high as something like an Umbreon, right? That's like super desirable and super hard to pull. This card is pretty easy to pull, but it's still an SIR. So it's still going to be one of those cards that's going to be hard to get, regardless. But that being said, $25 for an SIR, I personally think you can't go wrong. I think this is a great pickup at $25, and I went ahead and picked up a couple of these because I love this card. I think it's great. So moving on, let's look at another card that I really like a lot, Miraidon EX. So it's a legendary. It's the face of Scarlet and Violet that hit like Miraidon and Koraidon, and you know, these are SIRs, right? But here we are looking at the market price. The market price is $18 for an SIR, which is insane. This is another card that was sitting at like $100 plus when it first came out in the market, and now it's all the way here to $18. And if you look at things in the last 3 months, it's just been slowly trending down, from 23 all the way down to 18. It's just been doing this slow, steady decline. And I mean, there's this point in time where it spiked up and things like that, and over a period of over a year, like it slowly declined as well, and it went back to 18. I mean, the lowest it's ever gone is 14, but really $18 for an SIR, I mean, I think it's a great price. I personally really like Miraidon. I think Miraidon's really cool. I know that in the competitive game, Miraidon was a really competitive card in the past. I'm not so sure if it's competitive anymore, but I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of these like spikes happen. People wanted for competitive play, things like that. But really, $18 for an SIR I think is a really great price. And I plan on picking up a couple of these pretty here soon. You know, you can keep waiting if you want to see it go lower. Will it ever hit $14 again? I'm not so sure. The market seems to really like to support it around 18, but hey, I mean, you can wait and see. But I think $18 is a really good price for the set, for the card. So moving on to Paldea Evolved. Now we've got Iono, the Iono SIR. Iono is one of the gym leaders in Scarlet and Violet. She's really cute. She's a streamer in the game. So you know, she's got the personality that all like the streamers have. Really like cute, bubbly, funny type of personality. I really like Iono. I think she's really adorable. And so here we are. This was another SIR that was going for a lot, right? And I believe it was like $100 ish around that point when it first came out. Iono was also competitive. A lot of people wanted it for competitive play, but now, you know, we see here that it's dropped back down to $56, right? So it was basically at 100 and now it's half the price. And you know, now we're here at 50, seeing like how low it's been. And I mean, it's just been going down in the last month. You know, last month it was 60 and now it's around like 50. This card is probably gonna be a $50 card, honestly. Like, I mean, it's an SIR. People really like Iono. I don't really know if it's gonna go lower than 50, to be honest. So honestly, this is another pretty good card to keep in mind if you're planning on picking this up. I think this card's going to be really good around this price, and it's very available right now for around 50. So definitely keep an eye out on this card for sure. Another card that I realized I didn't have here in this list is you know, the face of Paldea Evolved, which is Magikarp, right? The Magikarp illustration rare. And this card right here, even though it's just an illustration rare, people really like this card. I personally really like the card. The art is beautiful. It looks great. It's Magikarp. Everyone knows Magikarp, right? And just look at it. Look at it go. $211 for this Magikarp. Insane. And it's kind of defying the market right now. I would say that there's a lot of eyes on this card. And you know, before it was sitting at like $100 and it spiked all the way up to about 270, 280 at the highest, and now it's dropped around 200. I personally think that this card is not gonna go below 200. I really think that people like this card so much, and I mean, you can't even, there's not even enough sellers on the market that's trying to sell this card for under 200. Like, there's no one selling it under 200. Like the first listing here, Hot Diggity Dog is trying to sell it for 220. So really, I think this card's only going to go up from here. So if you want this beautiful card in your collection, now is probably the time to pick it up. I mean, definitely keep an eye on it. Maybe it could go lower, but I personally think 200 is probably the price for this card, honestly. It's just so popular. Everyone wants it. Another card that I think is really cool is the Tyranitar. It's another really cool illustration rare. It's sitting around $41 right now. And you know, other than the Magikarp, you know, all these cards are just following the trend of just, you know, dropping down. Everything has been trending downwards. Like, as I go through these price graphs here for Tyranitar, it looks a little different compared to the other ones. In fact, it looks like it's gone up in comparison, right, over the years. But you know, this was not this isn't as expensive as a card as the other cards. I mean, sure, like when the card first came out, it was probably worth like, you know, 50 plus, 60, maybe even 70, but it's dropped down to 40. But it's really stayed around the $40 mark for a long time, for about a year. I mean, there's always room for this one. Like, I can't really tell with the data here where it's gonna go. You know, but this seems to be like the average price that it's paid for, around $40. So this one seems to hold its value pretty well at the $40 mark. But it's definitely something a card to keep an eye out for. Like, Paldea Evolved is getting really old. it's part of the G Block. And as we all know, the G Block is going out of rotation next year for competitive play. In case you didn't know that, there you go. And once it goes out of rotation, the Pokemon Company International doesn't really have a reason to reprint those sets anymore. And if you've been looking at the prices for booster boxes for Paldea Evolved, Paldea Evolved, last time I checked, was around $300 a booster box. And we can take a look now to see where the booster box is sitting. And if you see here, $338 for a Paldea Evolved booster box. It's absolutely insane. Look at the growth here, starting 3 months ago around $220 and now at $330. Absolutely insane. And we won't even talk about a year ago. A year ago was, man, that was something. Just the amount of Paldea Evolved you could get on the market for like $100 a booster box. Those were the days. But I hope we can go back to those days. Those were nice days. Just being able to walk into a store, see product on the shelves, get it for under MSRP, things like that. But this is where it is now. $337 a booster box for Paldea Evolved. It's pretty insane, honestly. So next up, I've got the Charizard EX Special Illustration Rare from Obsidian Flames. Okay, and I really like this card. I think it looks beautiful. It's Charizard. Everyone likes Charizard. I am actually not that big of a Charizard fan. I mean, I think Charizard's really cool. But, I really like Blastoise, right? But that being said, Charizard is definitely a Pokemon you can't ignore. And just looking at the price, right? Like, it had like a high point in the past year, back in January, at like around $85. We've seen this card go up to $100 plus, right? And now it's sitting here at $57 market price. And really it's been really volatile in the last couple months. I mean, it's still trending downwards, but I feel like it's finding a lot of support around the $50 mark, and I don't think it's going to go any lower than $50. I really think that this card is going to be lowest 50, and right now at 57, I think it's a really good deal. So if you're looking to grab this Special Illustration Rare Charizard, I mean, if you think about it, it's an SIR, it is hard to pull. $50 for a Charizard, I believe is a good deal. So if you really are interested in this card and adding it to your collection, now could be a good time to pick it up. And let's look at another illustration rare from this set, the Cleffa from Obsidian Flames. I love this art. I think Cleffa looks precious. The one star in the background, the shooting star, the reflection off the ground, it's such a beautiful card. And if we look in the past year, it spiked up all the way to $30. I feel like the card was a little bit more expensive than that, maybe even $40 at some point, but I could be remembering wrong. But now it's dropped in the past 6 months from $30 all the way down to $14.50. And who knows, like maybe the card could go lower, like maybe it could go to like 10, 11, 12 maybe, but really $14, $14.50 for this card, even $15 for this card, I think is a really great price for this card. This card looks amazing, and I definitely want a couple of these in my collection, because man, it just looks so good, right? Just look at the art, man, it's so beautiful. So yeah, I would love to get this card in my collection. It's not in there yet, but yeah. All right, so the last card I want to talk about here is the Charizard EX from 151. Of course, the big chunky boy himself, and I love this card. Again, I'm not the biggest Charizard fanboy, but when I see Charizard chunky like that, boy, I want all the Charizards. He looks amazing. The art is phenomenal. All the colors and just him, trying his best to fly high in the sky, as chunky as he is. He's going. And this is the SIR from 151, not to be confused with the one from Obsidian Flames. And we all know this card was going crazy. Okay, this card went all the way up to 300, and now it's dropped all the way down to 185. And I picked up this card around like 190, so it's going around like 185. And again, like I said, I personally love this card. Like if you were able to grab this card, you know, back in September, August for like 120, 130, like you're still eating good, right? The market's at like 185. I'm actually surprised that the card is going lower, to be honest. And it could be because of the supply of 151 that we've been receiving in the market. You know, the Zapdos EX boxes that have been being released. Blooming Waters is getting released into the market. Maybe some 151 booster bundles here and there. So that could be why we're seeing the decrease in price here for the Charizard EX. But again, like I think that even at $200, this card is a great pickup. It's really one of the big hitters from 151, right? And a lot of people, when they think about 151, they think about this Charizard. They look at the art. They know it's amazing. And so really, even at $200, I think this card is a really, really good price. So if you think that it's going to go lower, and it could go lower because of the supply of 151 we've been getting. But just think about how far away we are from 151 being out of rotation. 151 is a special set. This is probably the last pieces of product that we're going to get for 151. I mean, we might get like small little restocks here and there, but for the most part, I think the Pokemon Company International is going to be focusing their efforts on printing the newer stuff that needs to be printed. Because there's just not enough supply for it. Things like, you know, like Surging Sparks, things like Twilight Masquerade, maybe not Journey Together because there's still a lot of it as far as I know. But Destined Rivals, they need to print more of that. Prismatic Evolutions, I don't know if they'll ever have enough to print for Prismatic Evolutions, but that is what they're going to focus on. 151's getting old, and they just don't have the capacity to print everything, you know, humanly possible. So they're just going to focus all their efforts on all the newer stuff. I mean, they still have newer sets coming, right? They can't just focus on older sets all the time. So we're starting to reach a point where 151 is getting really old, and there's not going to be enough product to go around anymore, and the Charizard's going to go back up in price, and it's easily going to hit the $300 mark again in the future. I am pretty confident in it. And so if you're looking at this card and you want to add it to your collection, this could be a good time to pick it up. So those are some of the cards that I personally think are really cool, and they're going to be great pieces to add to your collection. You know, whatever you like to collect, definitely pay attention to the singles market right now, because the singles market, everything is relatively cheaper. You can pick up some really, really good cards for a really good deal, and definitely pay attention to some of the older stuff, because they're not going to be around for that much longer, being able to pick them up at such a cheap price. So definitely get ready to add those to your collection. And that's pretty much it. We just got some supply of Gem Pack Volume 2 for Black Star Games. You can pick it up at bsgtcg.com. And it's about $45, $44 right now. So if you're interested in simplified Chinese product, we've got that now. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.